Welcome everyone. This is the editorial page of Indian Express, and today two editorials are mostly important, and date is 26 September 2022. We'll see our first editorial, which is why we met the RSS chief. So what is RSS? It is a Hindutva based ideological institution. The full form is Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. You all know that. So why is this article written? Because 5 persons met the RSS chief last month, but this news has broke out this month. And the writer, who is S.Y. Qureshi, who itself was an ex-election commissioner, he also was a part of this meeting. So what he writes down is the specific and briefs of that meeting. So strong belief in dialogue and concern about situation of Muslims were behind the initiative. So they believed in having talks, so having a dialogue, and also what was their main initiative, because there are concerns about the situations of Muslim in India. So that is why they initiated to talk with the RSS chief. So he writes that ever since the news broke out that 5 Muslim community members met the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat on August 22, the media has gone to town with various interpretations. So media have called them a lot of things. First they have called that they want publicity. So that is why they said that we have broke out this news after 1 month. This implies that we do not want any publicity. Then media has asked them that who are you to represent? Are you the specific representative of a Muslim community? So they have already said that they are not. They are just 5 persons who were concerned about the situation of Muslims in the country. So the 5 who met Bhagwat were: first is the Delhi Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung, also journalist Shahid Siddiqui, hostelier Saeed Sherwani, Lieutenant General Zamir Uddin Shah, and this writer, that means S.Y. Qureshi himself. So what prompted us to seek this meeting? Now writer is wanting to tell that why exactly we initiated this dialogue. Well, our pressing concern is about the way things are going. About the way things are going where? In India, especially the insecurity being increasingly felt by the Muslim community. So the insecurity that is felt by the Muslim community, and why? Because of recurring incidents. That means incidents that are happening again and again. And what are these incidents? Incidents of lynching of innocents, which means killing of person by a group, by a violent, you can call a group. So calls by Hindutva hothead for genocide, this was also a part of their concern, and the marginalization of the community in almost every sphere. These are the concerns for which they started this dialogue. So what did they note, and what exactly they felt after meeting the RSS chief? First of all, they said that he was very comfortable, nothing make us uncomfortable. So what did the RSS chief started? In his opening remarks, he emphasized 3 things. First is the Hindutva is an inclusive concept, which means it is a concept that wants everyone to participate. Inclusive means include everyone, in which all communities have equal room. He said that country can progress only when communities are united, he added. So he is calling for unity. Now, also, he called for two things that Hindus are extremely sensitive about. The first of which is cow. So, cow, which means the slaughter of cow. So, what did they responded? These five people responded that Muslims fully understand this, especially as cow slaughter is banned in most of the India. So the law is there which already punishes violators as it should. But there are some states that do not have such legal ban. So his interference seemed to be that in states where there is no legal ban, Muslims should voluntarily shun beef, which means they should just do not eat beef, exclude beef being a part of their food. Now, writer is calling this should be easy enough if it ensures security for the community. So, if someone's sentiment are hurt, if you do any activity, and if leaving that activity makes you feel secure, then why not leave it? This is by the writer. Other sensitivity, the next one he mentioned, was Hindus being called kafir. What is the meaning of kafir? Original meaning of this Arabic word was non-believer. If it is considered derogatory, Muslims must avoid it completely. Kafir means they are non-believer, which means they do not believe in God. So, writer is calling that Muslims must avoid it completely, very easy, and it is doable, which means Muslim community can do it. He gives the proof, I can say evidence, that is written in Quran. Quran mentions, says Allah is Rabbul Alameen, not Rabbul Muslimin, which means God of the universe, not of the Muslims alone. So Allah is God of the universe, not just of Muslims. Quran says, unto you your religion, unto me mine, which means respect every religion. Your religion is yours, mine is mine. So writer is talking about, he is in fact writing that Muslims must avoid it completely, that Hindus must not be called kafir or kafir, whatever it is called. So this was the main talks. Now what the writer hopes is that we firmly believe that the dialogue is the only way forward. We have nothing to lose but everything to gain. So that is why he initiated this dialogue. And what he wants next is, we want to take our feelings to the Honorable Prime Minister as well, at the earliest, as soon as possible. They want to meet and take this concern to the PM as well. And we hope, that means all the person that were in the meeting, they hope that he will oblige us with an audience. That means he will listen to our talks and say something about it as well. Now the writer is former Chief Election Commissioner of India, also is author of a book. So this was something that has come as a surprise, because it occurred 1 month before and now it has come in news. The next is by a police officer who himself served to this nation. He was a formerly Director General of Police, which means he was DGP UP as well as DGP Assam and DGPSF, Border Security Force. So he is talking about police reforms, a recipe for reforms. If India is to progress and emerge as a great power, if India wants to do that, if India wants to emerge as a great power, there is no alternative to radical reforms in the police. That means police reform are a must. there can be no alternative. Why this news has come? Because 16 years ago, which means 2006, and this month of September, and the date was 22, which means 22nd September 2006, Supreme Court gave a landmark judgment on police reforms. What was expectations? Expectations was, it was felt that a new era would begin for the police, that it would become accountable and people friendly, and that it would give primacy to upholding the rule of law. So expectations were that police system would become accountable, police personnel will become people friendly, and they will consider their supreme priority. And what is their supreme priority? What must they consider? Upholding the rule of law, which means abiding by the constitution. So that is why September 22 is now celebrated as Police Reforms Day. Now he is giving 10 suggestions and 10 reasons why the country must push for the police reforms. Why is there such a necessity for police reform now? Or in fact it was since long time. First is, he say, one is the Prime Minister in his Independence Day speech gave a clarion call for erasing all the vestiges of colonialism. So if you have seen this speech, you may remember the 5-punch plan which was given. First was freeing yourself from colonial mindset. And how is this related to police? The Police Act of 1861, which governs substantially the functioning of police even today. You see, 1861, this act, it is governing the police even today, is a symbol of colonial rule. Why this act and what this act was aimed for? So it was promulgated to have a police. It was aimed that there will be a police that will be politically useful. You see the word politically useful, not for the citizens but for the politics. One which would ensure the dominance of imperial masters over a subject people. So before democracy, the rulers were masters and citizens were subject. So in order to dominate the subject, these rules were made. Now second, he says that we have one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Growing at what percent? At least 6 to 7%. So we are proud of it. And what is the position of India in the economic countries? So it comes 5th in terms of its GDP growth. We are proud of it. However, what most people do not realize is that this progress would have been even faster. So this progress would have been even faster. How exactly? If the country did not have such serious challenges to its internal security. So which means if India does not have such serious challenges to internal security, then it would be much more ahead. And this internal security problem, this is sapped the economy of the country. He is giving data next. According to Institute for Economics and Peace, violence cost the country 7% of its GDP in 2020, which means 7% of the GDP get wasted in violence. What is the need of today? Economic development depends on sound law and order. And we can have good law and order only if we have a professional police. Which means if you want good law and order, you must have a professional police. Now comes the 4th point. The police are not able to deal with the internal security challenges as effectively as they should. because police is a state subject. It comes under state and union territories. Jammu and Kashmir has been witnessing unrest for the last 30 years. From the 1980s, it has shared these evidences of having an unrest in the Kashmir Valley. Maoist problem has been festering for more than 50 years, and now there are multiple insurgencies in the northeast that have lasted for more than 60 years. It is not that these problems cannot be contained. So it is not that these problems cannot be solved. What is the need? State police forces are in shambles, and that is why they find themselves incapable of tackling these problems decisively. Now he comes to the fifth point. People in general do not have confidence in the police. People in general. This is particularly true of the low strata of society, because they are the one who have seen injustice. They are the one who face the police and other things more frequently. And that is why they feel that there is a one law for the poor and another for the rich and powerful. This has to change. And how? This will only happen if the police are insulated. That means they are not under the influence of those with political or financial clout. Just separate police from any kind of influence. He gives sixth, that law and order problems are becoming more complex with every passing year. For example, organized crimes, then arms trafficking, drug trafficking. These problems, this organized crime, arms trafficking, drug trafficking, this require a very high level of sophistication and expertise on the part of police. They would be able to achieve that only if the politicians stop looking at police as an instrument to promote their narrow partisan end, which means they again must be separated from politics, from the bad influence of politics. Politicians should not look police as an instrument to promote their interest. Seventh, he said that police are not able to deliver partly. Why? Because of poor infrastructure. A vacancy of more than 5 lakh personnel. You see, 5 lakh personnel. Now, eighth come the poor housing conditions. And long working hours have an adverse impact on police performance. You may have seen police personnel working for long hours. This affects both their bodies and also mental health. An average policeman works for 14 hours a day and he does not get any weekly off. This takes a heavy toll on his mental, physical health both. So what should be the remedy? We should have a 12-hour shift straight away, which means from right now we should conclude this to a 12-hour shift and gradually, slowly aim to achieve 8-hour shift, like normal people who work 8-hour shift. Now ninth come, there is enormous scope for technological inputs. So more technical police personnel, which means those who are at least somewhat acknowledged to the technical world, because now it is the time of digital India. So these inputs would act as a force multiplier. Prime Minister, while addressing senior police officers of the country at Lucknow on November 21, 2021, he called for setting up of a high-powered technology mission to adopt future technologies. So there must be a high-powered technology mission. It must become a mission, and what for? To adopt future technologies for fulfilling grassroots policing requirements. That means police must look at future. they must adapt themselves to the future technologies. Now, last is he says that police reform must extend to its different wings at the center also. So you see, it is very strange that CBI does not have statutory support, and that this powerful organization created on the basis of resolution passed on the April 1, 1963. So this CBI derives power to investigate from an act which is Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946. This about this topic I have explained the CBI in the last few newspaper that has come. So it is an anonymous arrangement. Another powerful organization, which is Intelligence Bureau, which is commonly called IB. It was set up through an administrative order 1887 that also needs a statutory basis, which means it must also work based on some special provisions provided by some act that has been passed by the legislature, so that its power to investigate becomes more effective. So now at the ending line he says that future of India is linked with the police reform. If the country is to progress, if India wants to emerge as a great power, there is no alternative to radical reforms in the police. That means police reforms are the must. Now you can read this newspaper by these both articles by yourself as well.